What is going on, everybody? King Recon here, dude! It was such an amazing year for both the manga and the anime. I mean, top to bottom, so much peak dropped this year, man. And so I could not wait to come on here and record this video for my own personal favorite episodes of the year, but also your favorite episodes of the year. Now that we've finished tallying up the results, I'm looking forward to going through both lists, not only seeing the differences between the two, but to also just look back and reflect on what was an incredible Santa Hat level year for both the anime and the manga. But of course, this is going to be the episodes of the year list. If you would like to see the chapters of the year list, that is a separate video that we already did last week. It was so much fun, man. And so if you have not seen that already, I will leave a link in the description box down below for that. But without further ado, coming off of a very strong 2021 for both the manga and the anime, but in the anime, going from episode 957 to 1004, I was like, this is a very strong year. Might be the strongest year in the series. And guess what I'm saying again in 2022? This might be the strongest year in the series. And you know what's wild about that? 2023 looks like it's shaping up to be the exact same thing, so we're eating. We are eating as fans of the anime. And the fact that we continue to say this might be the strongest year in the series in terms of high quality episodes. I mean, it is insane. It is insane, man. Before we get into my own personal list, I want to give a massive shout out to Leo Dog over on the Discord and on DeviantArt for providing this incredible piece of art, man. It is me with the goat with the coat, and I just think this is one of the coolest things ever. So Leo Dog, thank you for taking the time to not only draw this, but to also color it as well, man. So my biggest thanks to you. I really, really appreciate this. It is super, super cool. So I hope you have a wonderful day. And without further ado, let's get into my own personal list of peak this year, man. Here we go, y'all. Starting us off at number 10. Ooh, what a year it was. Starting us off at number 10 is actually the most recent addition to the Wano and Onigashima greatness in episode 1045. And I really appreciated this episode because I thought I was going to get something completely different to what we got here. I thought we were going to get the complete adaptation of chapter 1022. And instead, we got an extremely intense fighting sequence with Mr. Burgundy in Black. My boy Kurohashi no Sanji, maybe even in peak form Kurohashi no Sanji, boxing queen and king at the same time. I was like, yo, inject it. This is goated. This is goated. I mean, not only did the art and animation go crazy, but bro, Sanji was going nuts. So I was like, nah. Any wings of the Pirate King hype? I'm there. I'm there for either wing. And so that was just great. On top of that, the battle of the Hokages in Raizo and Fukurokuju looked better than, it looked like a Luffy versus Kaido episode. I was like, man, this is insane. This is absolutely insane. And so the entire episode just flowed exceptionally well. The art was going nuts. And it was just another one of those, like, this is why the anime is speaking to me in the way that it is the creative liberties that it's taking to not only just not adapt the full chapter, but end it in a way to where it might serve the medium of anime better in the overall scope of things, right? Rather than ending it on what I assume is going to end in the next episode, it ends on King getting back up and rising up the intensity, because it lasts like 5 minutes of the episode. Extremely intense. The time is ticking. Queen and King go. 1045 was good. It was a really, really good episode, man. And so that is my number 10. Extremely enjoyable stuff. Might even be higher with time. It's just that since it was the most recent episode, I haven't had the opportunity to go back and really, have it sink in and whatnot. So shout out to 1045, man. Great episode. Then coming in at number 9. This pick for me is like y'all know how much I love Momonosuke, man. And so this one moment, anytime I sit down and rewatch this scene or I think about that episode, it gets me emotional. And that's episode 1036. Momonosuke's speech, letting the rest of Onigashima know that Luffy is alive, and you have the music playing in the background while he's delivering this speech, and we cut to every single other person on the island. And it's so goated. And the Straw Hats get back into fighting form, like, yeah, he's right, you don't believe in the king. I was like, it's so good. And leading up to the Momonosuke speech was an incredible Kinemon and Kaido sequence. And then if we get anime original content with Kinemon and Momonosuke flashbacks that are put in, I was like, brother, this is incredible. This is incredible. And so, nothing but love to 1036. The Momonosuke speech was the highlight of that episode, but leading up to it, like I said as well, the Kinemon and Kaido stuff, and then those anime original flashbacks with Momonosuke and Kinemon, just exceptional stuff. A very emotional episode, but it's Momonosuke hype. Shout out to my boy. So that's why it's here at number 9. Coming in at number 8 is actually the hardest episodes to rank. It is the only tie on my list, but that's because I can't disassociate them from one another. And that is the filler that we got this year for Film Red, episodes 1029 and 1030. Now, there's a lot of reasons why this was very difficult to rank, but these 2 episodes were my only Film Red content from August to November, when I finally got the opportunity to watch the movie. And my hype for Film Red, y'all know. Y'all were there. Every week, I just could not stop talking about it. I was like, yo, I want to watch the movie. I want to watch the movie. I want to watch the movie. And so, coming off of the insane August, like it was breaking records, it was all over the place. Film Red, Film Red, Film Red. I kept watching the trailers. I was like, dude, I want to watch this movie so bad. And then I remember going into the filler, coming off of that legendary Roof Piece Part 2 stretch. And I was like, okay, what are we going to get with these episodes? And what we got was a return to form, a return to classic One Piece in every sense of the word. The old transitions, the incredible original OSTs. Luffy's original, the first time that he met Shanks. It felt like a canon episode, bro. It felt like a canon episode. The first time that he came into contact with Akagami no Shanks. And y'all know me and my dog Shanks. So I was like, wait, more Shanks content? Lucky Roo eating meat in an episode. I was like, whoa, this is peak. This is peak. But hearing Uta singing in the episode, I mean, so much of that is still vivid in my mind. And, Luffy and Garp scene and Luffy and Uta scenes are so good. But episode 1030 was true. I mean, that episode still, it hits harder with context from the movie, right? And the Luffy and Uta scenes are marvelous. Shanks returning back, Mother C starts playing, my heart breaks into a million pieces. It's just, it's amazing stuff, man. And it's a perfect setup for the movie, but it also, like I said, it hits harder with the context from the movie. So now, I remember when I watched that filler for the first time after having watched the movie, I was like, man, this hits like way, way different. I understand why these episodes dropped after the movie dropped. Normally it would be the opposite. Like the movie drops and then the filler drops. No. This hits harder with context. It hits way harder with context. So for me, greatest movie filler of all time. And because of my connection to the characters of Luffy, Shanks, Uta, the Ben Beckman greatness in 1030, it was just so much of what made early One Piece so special with like the modern day handling of the One Piece anime. And I enjoyed every single second of it. And I wish we would get more episodes like this. More episodes that bring back the old One Piece soundtracks and just give us like that, not only the like I said, the bits of nostalgia for hearing those soundtracks in certain moments, especially with those characters, but to also remind ourselves like why it is that we love this series so much in the first place. And I just enjoy those 2 filler episodes a lot. And like I said, after watching Film Red, I like them even more. now, so that's why they're here at number 8. All right, y'all, from here on out, nothing but heat. Nothing but goat raw fire and peak in animated form. So much of what makes the One Piece anime so special is within these next 7 episodes, man. And starting us off here with number 7 is episode 1013, an anime original special for what took place when Ace arrived in Onigashima and met with Yamato. This episode is so well directed, bro. So well directed from top to bottom. And the scene towards the end of the episode where Ace is getting into Yamato's head about the father stuff, it hits so hard, man. Don't let him shackle your heart, son. When Yamato bends down, the OST of Legend is playing in the background, and she's like, yo, I cannot be free. I won't be able to live free like Odin. The tear down the eye, and Ace is like, no, OBG, that's not the way it works. That's not the way it works. And I love their dynamic so much in the manga. When I got this in the anime, an entire episode dedicated to Ace and Yamato stuff, I ate it up, man. I ate it up, and I loved every single second of it, dude. One of the most well-directed episodes, and it is incredible how almost every single scene in this episode, taking it forward from chapter 999 content, is anime original. And it's just, it makes everything fit so well. And then whenever we get to the 1014 and 1015 stuff, it allows to hit much harder because we have this context behind it. Though it may be anime original, it is phenomenal anime original stuff. And that's going to be a very consistent theme here with the next couple of episodes, is the amount of incredible anime original material that Toei's been giving us this year. It's incredible. And how it's elevated the source material. So 1013, without a doubt, I love that Yamato and Ace special. And following that up, I believe the same director did the next episode I'm about to talk about. And I love this director. I love this director a lot. Coming in number 6 is episode 1026. This is sort of, 1025 sort of started the Roof Piece Part 2 stuff, but 1026 is really what drove it home. 1026, man. You want to talk about grown men throwing hands? This is grown men throwing hands at the highest level. Bro, that one scene with Luffy and Kaido, whenever everything just stops and you have like the water bubbles all around them and they're just looking at each other. Yo, when Luffy stops his club from hitting Zoro, and then the OST, Luffy's awakening starts playing, I'm like, bro, inject it. And they start throwing down. You see like the DBZ stuff all over the place. It was nuts. It was nuts, man. And then even before we get to the Roof Piece stuff, we have the incredible Kinemon and the rest of the Scabbards versus Orochi content, which looks incredible. I love the what they did with the style there. Very reminiscent of like an old Japanese painting. It just looks super, super cool. I love the way this episode was handled from a direction standpoint. But the highlight of the episode is obviously that Roof Piece greatness. And I'll never forget going through that the first time whenever we watched it together. And we were like, man, Roof Piece Part 2 is going to be off to a bang. And it was, man. It was a really special adaptation of 1009, of the 1009 stuff. And of course, ending it off with Zoro tanking the Hakai, bro. And it was like, yo. Dude, both Kaido and Big Mom are charging that thing up. And it's big. It's big. They take the tag team attack with Law and Kid. Big Mom off the island. Zoro comes in. It's great stuff, y'all. It is great stuff, man. Why you dodging? Come on, bro. It's great stuff. It's great stuff. I love 1026, and that's why it's here at number 6. Coming in number 5, I could not have asked for a better adaptation of the Come on, bro. The Espada theme is playing at the highest level. With episode 1044, that Robin versus Black Maria greatness. And 1043 almost made the list because of how incredible that episode was. But 1044, the anime adaptation of chapter 1021, which all of us were looking forward to from the moment that that chapter ended, for it to have done that stuff justice in the way that it did. I mean, bro, it's the Sabo and Robin sequence. It's the Koala and Robin sequences. It's going into Robin's mind and producing all the flashbacks as flower petals in the air. It's the Fishman karate scene. It's Black Maria being a savage. Da, da, da. And then finishing it off with the most insane piece of animation when it comes to Nico Robin. With Grand Jacuzzi clutch the demonio floor greatness. It was just like, yo, this is big. This is big, man. Like, I've rewatched that sequence multiple times and I still can't believe like how creative they got with like representing the iceberg. It's like Black Maria's back. And it's just, you can feel the pain there. It's it's insane. It was so well done, and going throughout the entire episode, both that and 1043, it was a reminder not only of why we love Robin's character as much as we do, but it really was like going through her entire character's story in a single episode, or I should say in 2 episodes, and just the way they handled the content there was really special, and I loved it a lot. I loved it a lot, especially the final sequence there. The transformation looked like something straight out of like a mecha series, like a Go Nagai series, right, with Devilman and stuff. And the green background, the wings coming out. I was like, yo. But no, it's the deadest Shishishi that gets to me, bro. Because it's like straight out of a horror movie. I mean, Black Money was like, yo, what's going on? Deadest Shishishi. Look, you turn around and oh, man, the episode is so peak. It is so goated. Robin, of course, directly after the scene with Brooke. And then we get my favorite thing, the thing that makes me weak in any medium, but especially when One Piece does it, is changing the aspect ratio. And then we get that scene with Luffy and Momonosuke at the end of the episode. I mean, it's beautiful stuff. It's beautiful stuff, man. So 1044, most certainly worthy of being in the top 5. And it is an incredible adaptation of chapter 1021, man. I love every second of it. These next 2 were so difficult to rank, man. Because they're so good for multiple different reasons. And it's like all these are 10s, but they're 10s for different reasons, right? So, man, coming in number 4 is a very, very special episode, though, y'all. An extremely special episode. It is the supernovas going up in like swimwear against Hyaku Juno Kaido in episode 1017. Boys, every time I think about this episode, there's like 3 scenes that stick out in my mind. Number 1, this scene whenever Law goes in and Gamma knifes this man. We go into Kaido's body and see how this is damaging his internal organs. I mean, I was blown away by that entire sequence. I still am blown away by the entire sequence. Zoro, dodge, Kaido, dodge. Bro, the way the anime handled the dodge, and then when you switch over to Zoro and the silhouette of Odin is there and it flashes, oh no, Kaido was shook, brother. You see him be like, yo, what is going on here? Dude, hype to the... Bro, because the thing is, right, Zoro in that episode not only went in and divided the blast breath in half, but then he comes over and is like, yo, brother, I'm ready to go in, yo. Zoro in this entire arc was crazy, but in Rufy's son, that man was going nuts. Shout out to episode 1027, did not make the list, but Zoro was in full display there. Full display. The stuff here in 1017 was just so goated. And then the Luffy Kong Gatling at the end of the episode. Legit, like from episode 309 when Luffy was fighting Lucci and hit him with the Jet Gatling. I mean, it was a really special final attack. And the entire episode was just that. It was just hands. It was the supernovas fighting Big Mom and Kaido. And it progressively got more and more insane and insane and insane and insane as the episode continued. And it was just nonstop peak, nonstop greatness. And I loved every second of it, man. And I still, whenever I go back and rewatch those sequences, I can't believe that we had an entire episode dedicated to straight nothing but hands, and it worked. It worked, bro. And it's truly one of the best, if not the best, episode of the anime in regards to straight action sequences. There's so many incredible action sequences here. And that's why 1017 comes in at number 4. Top 3 territory here. Coming in at number 3, man. It's Kaido, bro. It's Kaido! Episode 1033 not only gave us an exceptional fighting sequence between Luffy and Kaido that is completely anime original in comparison, especially to the 1013 content, which just shows Luffy falling off, right? Here we got to see what could have taken place there on the roof while they were boxing. And it was so cool the way it was directed, with the episode starting off from Kaido's perspective. You see him do this, title card pops up, and it's like, oh, what in the world is going on here? And we cut back to that later. We see them throwing down some of the coolest animated sequences ever in the series. And Luffy versus Kaido, especially whenever he comes in, goes whoo, and delivers the red rock. It was so crazy. And then they're throwing hands, they're boxing. But when Luffy gets back up, and from like the moment that he blocks Kaido's mace until the end of the episode, it is actual peak fiction, right? Like thunk, and Kaido's looking down. He's continuing to deliver his speech in classic Kaido's fashion, and they're just boxing. And we see like Kaido's having the time of his life. Luffy's having the time of his life. He's smiling. Dun, 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 dun. He goes in, swipes down. He's not there. He's not there. And I loved how we got to see so much of this through Kaido's perspective. It was such a cool creative touch from Toei to dip into something that would normally be utilized like in a movie and or in a book, where somebody is witnessing something through their perspective, and it's kind of like they're hallucinating or they're imagining everything, right? And to have that tool being used for Kaido continuing to fight a Luffy whom is at the same level as him, that allows him to have as much fun as he wants to, was such a cool creative touch. And I loved it, and it fit the 1013 stuff very well, because then we go into, this is what Kaido wanted out of this fight, and this is the actual thing that took place, Luffy getting destroyed, right? And I just thought it was amazing. And as somebody who loves Kaido's character, the anime continues to give us these little anime original sequences that only elevate his character further. And this is one of those episodes for him. That was just like Kaido greatness at the episode in 1033. And just whenever you get back to the end of the episode, he does this again, and you see the callback to the beginning of the episode. It's like, oh man, like, they knew what they were doing. They knew what they were doing. And you know, like I said before, some of the coolest animated sequences with Luffy versus Kaido, but the main driving force of this episode being this high is because of the Kaido greatness, and how they took that creative liberty in telling it from his perspective here, and having it just work in a way to where even manga readers were shocked watching this episode, because I can tell you I was shocked. I was like, oh man, this is awesome. This is awesome, dude. And so they did a marvelous job with that stuff from 1013, and that's why that's here at number 3. Here we go, y'all. It's time for the top 2. All-timers, legendary episodes. Top 2. Starting us off with number 2. Dude, I rewatched this episode again yesterday. I love this episode so much, in particular the second half of this episode. I just, bro, like, dog. Yo, this episode speaks the universal language, dude. Episode 1028. Dog. I love, the first half of this episode is great, man. The kid stuff and Killer with the incredible Hawkins scene and Killer at his best, right? It's just great content there for those three. Big Mom shenanigans, right? That first half of the episode is some fun stuff. But the second half of that episode is like a 50 out of 10, bro. It's like a 50 out of 10. Hyogoro the Flower callbacks, man. The way that everything is directed when Luffy's just looking down at his hands and you hear for the moment you're that, you're like, okay, this is some special stuff. Some special stuff. Oh. I know exactly what you're doing. You're infusing yourself with Conqueror's Hockey, aren't you? Whoosh. Music stops. Everything stops. Close up at Kaido's face. Whoa, and what of it? There's only a handful of individuals that can do that. Yo, and everything turns red. He comes striking down, and then the music of Legend starts playing. When it dives into Luffy's soul, and you see his defeated body from chapter 10, from chapter 923, and from episode, what was it, like 915? I think it was 915, whenever he lost the Kaido in the anime. And he's just there. And right behind him, you see all the sequences, the original fight. Then you see all of his losses in the series up until this point. Hyogoro the Flower is going ham, delivering a motivational speech to him. And then we cut over. Flowers are blooming. Bro, it's the music here, man. And the music in this sequence is literally peak, bro. It is so golden. So golden. I mean, bro, the golden Luffy pops out of the other one. Oh, man. Dude, I can hear the OST playing in my head right now, dog. It's insane. Cuts back to the present. Or into what's actually taking place as Kaido comes right behind Luffy and then whooshing! Dung, 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 dung. And this man, the goat with the goat, has his foot raining out Conqueror's Hockey in a golden or. Stop playing! And they just, bro, he's not touching him. It's just, and then, bro, the music. This instrumental version of We Go is so peak, and I'm so glad they used it here because then directly after Luffy flies over, shoom, goes in and then just insane sequences. The clash there, you get to see a little bit of my goat right there for just a flash of a second. They clash. I mean, it's like turning into 3D. I was like, what is going on here? More Hyogoro flashbacks. And they continue to box, bro. Luffy goes in, hits him in the stomach. I mean, he's protruding forward. He stops. And then, boom, 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 boom. The camera goes under Luffy as he is charging up the Sendo Smash. And then you get to see his face. Oh, bro. And he just uppercuts the fly. Bro, he uppercut him so hard it turned into a Gurren Lagann scene. I'm not joking. If you have not watched this episode, it turns into a sequence from Gurren Lagann. Gurren Lagann. And he sends Kaido to Gurren Lagann. He makes him an anti-spiral, son. And yo, it is insane, dog. Sends him up to the Flagnards, and it's as if that wasn't enough. That entire sequence right there, I've rewatched so many times. Whenever you get We Go, and then we are back to back against Kaido. I mean, come on, man. That's just peak. That's just peak. Where the OST choices in this were just legendary. But the directing was special, bro. Really, really special. Luffy falls down. Law's like, oh, he didn't even touch him. And then we get the Whitebeard OST for Luffy thanking Law, telling him to take Zoro downstairs because now he's gonna take care of business. This episode is Goat Raw Fire and peak to the max. to the max. I can't even tell you the amount of times I've rewatched this episode. But there is one episode that is higher than this one. There's one episode that to me is my favorite anime episode of all time. And every time I see a new reaction, I watch it with it. I've rewatched it by myself a million times. It's the only episode I have ever watched that directly after watching it, I watched it in my own native language to make sure what I was watching was actually factual. I put it in Spanish. I put it in Spanish just to register what I was watching. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been watching anime for a very long time. A very, 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 very long time. This episode right here is unlike anything I've ever experienced. It made me feel things I didn't even know I could experience. And that is episode 1015. The 23-minute and 10-second movie that is absolute goat raw fire and peak. Emphasis on the peak, because this is the peak. 1015 do not grow on trees. This was a once-in-a-lifetime episode, a collaborative effort in which one of the greatest directors of our generation brought together some of the most talented and skilled animators of our time to work on One Piece. And what we got was 23 minutes of non-stop peak fiction. Period. The episode has like bare minimum 5 moments that I could put 5 of those moments in my top 10 favorite moments of all time for One Piece, and people be like, yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. The Yamato and Ace stuff at the beginning of this episode is beyond special. Beyond special. But the 2 minutes of Yamato hearing Luffy's dream, and we go into that fairy tale-like, those drawings that look like they're straight out of a Pixar film. I still can't believe that section exists in this episode. I can't believe it. I can't believe how well done it is. Like, we see Sabo and Ace, the page is turning, Yamato looks back, Roger's there, then Luffy pops in. That's what it is. When Luffy pops in, bro, it is peak. Changing the color and everything. Orewa! Yamato, whoosh, listen to Blue Bird type of sequence right there. And it starts laughing. Then we cut over and it's Sabo and it's Whitebeard, it's Odin, it's Ace, and it's like, oh my goodness. And Yamato just basking, like living through all of this. And that sequence to me is so special because Yamato was changed by Luffy's dream. And in a way where it was visually represented in what I like to call, that is what it feels like to be completely immersed in a piece of fiction and a piece of media. And it forever changes your life after experiencing it. And so I always like associating that sequence with how it truly felt when I first went through One Piece for the first time. Like, Luffy declaring his dream to Yamato in that scene was me going through One Piece for the first time. Everything changed after that, bro. You know what I mean? Like, I was Yamato with like the birds and the dramatic effects of that was me. That was me. And so for me, every time I see that sequence now, I always associate it with that. Like, and it doesn't have to be One Piece for anyone watching this, but for me it is, right? And it's not just One Piece, there's other pieces of media as well, like my Metal Gear Solid and stuff of that nature, where when it hits, it's like you feel that in the background so much so. Y'all hear that? Outside it's raining, it is thundering extremely hard outside because the atmosphere needed to get prepared for me to talk about this episode of Legend, alright? But I love that sequence so much, not just for Yamato's character, which y'all know how much I love Yamato's character. The No Me Reire scene, the I will not laugh at him scene. That is a scene I love so much in the manga. In the anime, it was really, really special stuff. And so that entire sequence, though, of the Pixar-like sequence, among the greatest of all time, period. period, man. I mean, the Luffy's dream, Luffy and Roger, I mean, but it's the Yamato forever being changed after, like, a clear difference in the Yamato before hearing that dream and Yamato after hearing that dream. Like, what happens when someone is so deeply impacted by someone else's words that it, like, sort of breaks them free of those chains. It is so beautiful. It is so beautiful, man. And so then we cut over to an incredible sequence with Yamato and Ace, and then we get that just extremely emotional scene with when Ace is, of course, favorite card birding up, and we cut over a bit to the piece in the Marineford whenever Ace is falling down, and then the transition to Ace falling down to Yamato falling down. It's just like, doom, 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 doom. I mean, I couldn't save my only friend. I mean, and then we cut back to the worst from episode 1013 where Ace is like, yo, don't let them chain your heart. And the moment that Yamato remembers that, Kaido pops up behind her, and it's like, yo! And then the OST of Legend starts playing the Denjiro theme. That every time this plays in the anime, I get so hyped, dude. Yamato and Kaido have this incredible sequence with just a beautiful color palette. It's like this red and black color palette. It looks so cool, little orange tint in the background. And they have this incredible sequence, and Yamato's like, yo, I'm gonna wait for you, Luffy. And it's so goated, right? So then, go from that scene, we cut over to the present. Momonosuke and Yamato are having this conversation about what will take place 20 years, which is today, that Odin talked about in his journal. Momonosuke-kun, this is what Odin said in his journal. And then it cuts over. And it shows, and I believe it's in this order too. I think it's Law, then Kid and Killer. Zoro was on, bro. When it comes over to Zoro, I never, like, the chills always, it's like I already had chills, but when I see Zoro look over, and you know that's exactly where Big Mom and Kaido are, it's just non-stop goosebumps, dude. Non-stop. Pops down, Law, zoom, zoom, cuts over to, like, this piece of metal. Kid and Killer are running. Then you go to the room, Zoro, but then you see the goat with the coat in front of this door, and it's just, and that's how you end part one of the episode. The episode could have ended right there. I would have already declared it the greatest episode of all time, period. Then we get the second half. And you better stop playing with me with the second half. You better stop playing with me with the second half, man. Yo, character animation galore. With Killer and Kid in front of Kaido. And Killer's just like, you see his rage in his hands. Zoro, Law, Mr. Law is wrong, going in and stops him. And it's like, yo, where's the king? Bro, we cut over to the goat with the coat. He goes in and he goes in to punch the door. And when he punches the door, the anime makes him punching the door, and the same thing into Prometheus going up towards Big Mom. And then door gets pwned. Luffy comes out, and you have the OST of Legend play. He comes out holding that hat. He looks so fire, wallpaper worthy for days. It shows Odin and then Luffy. Then you have the worst generation, Kaido and Big Mom, Conqueror's Hockey. Oh my gosh, bro, don't stop playing with your boy. And then Luffy goes and he does the legendary scene where he walks between Kaido and Big Mom, but in the anime it's so special. It's so special, man. Walks between both of them. You continue to see his face. And it's just like, the detail is nuts, bro. Goes over. Then we get in a first-person perspective. He looks down. He sees Kinemon's legs. Looks up, and it's all of them on this grassy plain type of area. And Kinemon is thanking him for everything. We don't get to see Luffy's eyes, bro. And then we see all of them heavily damaged on the floor in the actual reality of the scene. Luffy picks up Kinemon. An extremely emotional speech takes place. And then we get Kaido pulling up because he's a menace. He's a menace. Will you carry the land of Wano on your back? Of course I will. I'm your friend. Kaido comes down. Throw! Take them all downstairs. Law's like, yo, the music and place starts playing. Luffy pops up behind Kaido. And then we get the greatest flashback sequence ever. Period. Detailing the entire journey. The entire journey from the moment Kinemon asked him for help. Going all the way through Zou. And the craziest thing about the flashback sequences is not only the legendary soundtrack playing in the background. With the Three Brothers soundtrack, which is absolutely peak fiction, right? But it's also the fact that almost all of those sequences are from Luffy's perspective. Luffy's the one experiencing all of those reanimated flashback sequences. It is so glorious. And it always gets a tear out of my eye, bro, because it's like, it's the entire journey up until this point. And it's like, Momonosuke, what do you want? It shows everybody in the island, Yamato covering, and Momonosuke's like, I want to take out Kaido. Cover him, go with the coat, having this legendary stuff on his face and his hands. Dun, 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 dun. Boom! Red Dog! Rock up! Bro, that entire Red Rock sequence might honestly be my top one sequence. It might be. It's too goated. It's too goated. From the moment that Luffy says, Trao! Boom! Until the Red Rock goes down. Kaido's head hits the floor. Zoro smiling. The connection between Luffy coming down, he's frowning, then Kinemon with a tear. I mean, it's just... Luffy lands. Kaizoku Oni Ore wa Naru. I mean, yo, it is the greatest episode I have ever seen. Ever seen. It has everything that I want in an anime episode. It has the Goat Raw Fire universal language that I got into anime for back whenever I first watched an anime episode with Dragon Ball. All the way to my favorite things about anime now, with the incredible themes and the way that it can be interwoven into certain characters and their character-defining moments with the Yamato and Ace stuff. I just love this episode. It takes everything I love about One Piece, puts it into a 23-minute and 10-second episode, and it's peak. And every time somebody gets to it, I will continue to rewatch it because it only gets better with my rewatches. I can't believe this episode exists, and I don't know if we'll ever get another 10-15 ever again, but for me, that's not the important conversation to have. To me, the important conversation to have is a thank you to everyone who worked on 10-15 for allowing an episode like this to exist within our series. Because this was truly a special episode, and one that I will never, ever forget. And the fact that this episode was supposed to come out alongside my favorite chapter in the series as well, that would have been the craziest weekend of all time. And so I'm kind of glad that they didn't come on the same weekend, because it would have been too much. I might have passed out. Honestly, I might have passed out. And I'm very grateful for that experience, and I'll always cherish 10-15 with every fiber in my being. And I have no doubt one day we'll get especially if chapter 1044 gets directed by who I believe is going to be directing it, or at least that's my wish, right? That it could most certainly match, surpass, or be in the same conversation as it. But I truly do believe that even whenever we reach the end of the series, 10-15 will forever have a special place in our hearts as the first episode that really showcased this is what not only just this medium is capable of, but this is potentially the pinnacle of the One Piece anime in regards to everything. Everything. It's what makes One Piece so special in an episode. And if they are ever able to replicate something like this ever again, it'll be a blessing. Because like I said, these not only don't grow on trees, these are once in a lifetime episodes. And I'm forever grateful that we have one of these episodes within One Piece, man. And so that is my top 10 favorite episodes of 2022. And now, without further ado, let's reveal the community results as voted by all of you last week. And starting us off strong, coming in number 10 with 49 points is episode 1036, Momonosuke Greatness. Coming in number 9 with 83 points, my boy Roro Noa Zoro. And that Roof Piece Greatness with episode 1027. Coming in number 8 with 138 points, episode 1013, the Ace and Yamato special. Coming in number 7 with 146 points, the most recent installment in the anime, episode 1045. Coming in number 6 with 282 points. That Roof Piece Part 2 greatness with episode 1026. Coming in number 5 with 305 points, episode 1044. Nico Robin. Nothing else needs to be said. Coming in number 4 with 336 points. The episode that gave us We Go and We Are back to back. Conquers Coding episode 1028. Coming in number 3 with 383 points. A collaborative effort of legend in episode 1017. Supernovas versus Kaido and Big Mom. Coming in number 2 with 434 points is that Kaido greatness with episode 1033. And coming in number 1 with a whopping 1,004 points is the greatest of all time, episode 1015. And that is our community's top 10 favorite episodes of the year. It's been an incredible year. Undoubtedly one of the series' all-time best. 2022 is going to go down in history just like 2021 did, in providing some of the greatest episodes in the entire series. And now each and every single one of us can look forward to 2023 to potentially provide as much greatness as this year gave to us, and maybe even higher than that. Can we get much higher? Who knows? We're going to find out starting with tonight's episode. Is this going to be another year of legend? That remains to be seen. I believe it's going to be another year of legend. I believe 2023 is going to go down in the history books as maybe One Piece's best year for the anime. And so I'm very excited for it. It's going to be another legendary one. But please let me know in the comment section down below if you did not have the opportunity to give me your favorite episodes of the year. I would still love to read about that in the comments section down below. But until next time, until tonight, this has been the best One Piece episodes of the year. Both my own personal favorites and the community's voted results. And I will see y'all for the next installment in that anime greatness coming tonight. So until then, y'all have a good one. Take care. And cheers to an even better 2023.